Good afternoon for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Joe Hunk. If you missed the news yesterday afternoon, Titans had placed offensive lineman Shadiq Charles on the team's reserved retired list. Dylan Radins was getting the first team reps today out at practice for the Titans. For the Colts, Josh Downs is going to be out for a little while as he suffered a high ankle sprain during practice today. The team says that he could miss about a month for the next 4 weeks. And the NCAA has punished Jim Harbaugh for no reason. I mean, it's a reason, but 4-year show cause, as well as a 1-season suspension to the ex-Wolverine coach. By the way, this has nothing to do with sign stealing. This has to do with recruiting. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols. This is the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone. Let's get this thing going as we are now 3 days away from Titans and 49ers over at Nissan Stadium, which you'll be able to hear right here on 104.5 The Zone, as he is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And as we get going, we look to our left. The Olympics are going on live right now in Paris. And mainly because we want to have fun and not be sad about how the Titans can't have nice things on the offensive line. What on earth is this sport that is on screen right now? Is it water polo?
Oh.
Is that what it is? Jackson's on the board today, was it water polo you have on?
Yes, this is water polo. It's
artistic
electric.
Swimming. Was that it?
No, it's water polo.
Oh, okay. I know water polo.
This is electric. It's the gold zone. It's like red zone before the Olympics. It's awesome.
It is amazing. Yeah. I watched this all day on Saturday and Sunday.
Now we're at track and field.
Oh, yeah, track and field. You get to see them all. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But certain sports I really want to delve into, I want to be able to just touch my screen and make it just go big, but it doesn't work that way. Like a picture in a picture, then you make it big, boom. Nope, can't do.
Well, the cool thing about the Olympics is there's sports that are happening that you're going, wait a second, there are people that have trained all of their lives to go to the Olympics to play this particular sport.
Oh, no. What sport is in the Olympics that you didn't know was an Olympic sport? Like, I felt dumb. I'm like, oh my, I didn't know this was a sport. Do you have a sport that you did like, that's an Olympic sport?
Breakdancing.
Breakdancing.
Isn't this year? I think this is the first year.
First year.
It's the first year for breakdancing.
You at least get that. Okay. All right. Well, mine has probably been in it for a while. Mine was badminton. I did not know that was an Olympic sport.
I had no idea that was until probably about 3 months ago.
Right. And it's probably been around for a while. Do you know, Jackson? I have no idea.
You just told me that it's an Olympic sport.
I did not. And I say, dang, I'm a ding dong. So, I mean, I know you got one over there.
Oh.
But that's the first question of the day. What Olympic sport did you didn't know that was an Olympic sport?
There were some times that was about, I want to say maybe the last Olympics. I'm floating around on Peacock and I see something and I had no clue what it was. I click on it and all it is a horse dancing. It's not break dancing.
Oh.
It's horses.
But both of them affiliated dancing.
And I'm just going, what in heaven's name is this?
So they were horse dancing?
It's dressage. It's called dressage.
Dressage?
Yes, and it's a sport that anybody can do as long as you can make a horse dance, because I think last time I watched this, which I was so bored.
You watched it on Encore.
I did. Seriously, it was like Universal or whatever it was. Like, yeah, it was all that. But the guy that was riding the horse was like 60 or 70 years old, and you had like Pitbull in the background as the horse is dancing, and I had no clue that this could be an Olympic sport.
So when they dance, what are they just sidestepping? What are they doing?
Just the horse, just kind of moving
backwards and forwards.
Yeah, just backwards and forwards, putting one foot down, 1 foot up. And I'm sitting and I'm staring at it, and it's one of those that I promise you would have thought that I was on some sort of medication.
What is weird, because you're watching like, dang, they actually taught them how to do this. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
But at the same time, I'm going, why is this an Olympic sport? Like, we get so many sports taken out of the Olympics because this sport is one that stays in. What is this? Like, what's going on with that? And I mean, Jackson was over here talking about breakdancing. I'll take that over dressage.
Okay.
Any day.
No doubt.
And speaking of Pitbull, did y'all hear he has a stadium named after him now?
Well, no. Let me confirm that I'm partially right on this. He paid.
Yeah.
He paid.
$1.5 million a year.
Right, to be on the stadium.
FIU.
Yeah.
And a local Kia dealership has sponsored the field. So it is Dade Kia at Pitbull Stadium is where FIU will be playing football this season.
Okay.
Go FIU Panthers. Aren't they the Panthers? I think they're
They are
the
the
Panthers.
Panthers.
Yeah, they are the Panthers.
FIU
Yeah.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Go that. So yes. So now because of dressage, Pitbull has all this money that he can now sponsor a stadium because horse dance to his music. It is the weirdest. You don't know they're dancing until the people that are commentating explain to you what's going on. Because I just see horses walking around. I had no idea what it was.
Well, I watched the, I don't even know the name of the event where the horses are jumping over. Like, I watched that all the time. I even watched it a couple days ago, which is unique in itself. But
Is it like show jumping or something like that? I'm totally looking this
they're
up on the
jumping
fly.
over the,
Yeah.
like a high hurdle. I mean, not a high hurdle, but like like they're high jumping. But they are doing the ones jumping with the ride. I forgot what it's called. But
That's different. These horses
yes,
were
exactly.
literally just scooting to the left.
Yeah,
like
that's
like they're doing the cha-cha slide out there on the dirt.
it's like synchronized swimming, but
Yes.
they're just synchronized horses.
It's just it's
by themselves.
it is the dumbest sport.
Come on, man.
It's the dumbest.
Pretty smart.
I'm sorry.
Just imagine somebody taught it and had learned how to do that.
The guy doing it is wearing like a tuxedo.
Well, I
He's
don't
in a
know if it should be an
tuxedo
Olympic sport, but I think
making
it's
a
still
horse
pretty
dance.
incredible.
He's in a tuxedo making a horse dance. It is the dumbest sport I've ever seen.
What if he jumps off, holds the tassel with the horse, then the horse, he drops it, then the horse gets on the ground and starts spinning on his back? What if that happens?
Then you know
That
what?
would be phenomenal.
You win the gold.
He would. That's it right there. He'd win the gold.
It would go viral.
Yeah, I would. Again, you took out about those. I would much rather watch like bullfighting in the Olympics than I would actually watching a horse dance. Like that seems to me like it would be way more entertaining to watch.
Bullfighting?
Yes. To every PETA person right now that now hates me because I mentioned bullfighting. Sorry, it's an entertaining sport. I mean, it is.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think I get intrigued
seriously.
with the process of how they talk to horses.
But it is. Look, I promise you, if I show you this clip, like find a YouTube clip of dressage,
we gotta post that.
You will look at it and say, "This, I don't understand what I'm watching." I did it for somebody with ADHD. Staring at a television screen for a good 20 to 30 minutes, watching this the entire time, trying to figure out what these horses were doing. And they're like, "Oh, it's a beautiful move by those horses. Look at his grace." I'm like, his grace? He just put one hoof down and picked one up. How is it graceful? Alex on the F&M Bank chat, he says, "Do the horses wear the gold medal during the national anthem? Like do they go up to the podium?"
I don't know.
I'm telling it is. You see, Dewey says bullfighting is brutal. No, it is, but I'm just saying I think that would be a better Olympic sport than dressage. As what it could possibly be.
It sounds better when you just say horse dancing.
Yeah, horse dancing. Because that's what it was. I'm like, what is this going? Is it like, just watch as the horse moves as his tail's majestically shining. I'm like, what?
Oh,
what
wow.
are you talking about? Why are we talking like it's the 17th hole of the Masters? Like that's what it's on. As he gracefully walks across the field right now and watches his hoofs very clean today. What? What are you speaking about?
What a spectacular move by the horse.
It was. Look at him go in circles. Like he's going 1 mile per hour. Like it's not, again, which is one horse. Like you can't look it up. Look it up. And the whole time you've got like club music behind them as they're going in the Olympics. It's hilarious.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That is it. So no, I had no clue what dressage was until about 4 years ago in the last
How many
Olympics.
Olympic sports are there? Do we know? Like, I haven't looked that up, but man, it seems like when I was growing up, it didn't seem like it would go on this long. Like, this is like really a 2-week deal.
All right, I'm not counting this.
But before, so now I feel like, dang, this is, wow, it seems like it's so much longer and Man, Olympics. Oh, by the way, they just showed Snoop Dogg, and I kept saying at home all last week. I said, man, he keeps showing up, and he's always sitting next to the right people. I think he's being paid to be there. Come to find out, he's getting paid $500,000 a day.
I would dance in front of a horse too for 500 grand
I
a day.
was like, do what?
1,000%.
I said, oh, man. Yeah, Snoop Dogg is hitting him overhead, man, right? I said, he's basically making more than the actual Olympic athletes who are winning gold, probably.
Yes. Yes, because I think that Olympians winning gold only win only win like $30,000 from.
Well, it leads into endorsements and everything else, but you have to be the actual winner. Like if you were just a participant and got fifth, which is still phenomenal, didn't get a medal, you're not making $500,000 a day like he's making while he's down here. So he's probably making $5 million the whole time he's there.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why he's always with the winners and got on the gear and so I can't imagine, man, what some of these other people are making, man.
There are 32 different sports. There were 32 different sports in the 2020 Tokyo Games.
Oh, no. Let's do 2024.
Okay, well, I will have that number for you when we come back.
See if it increased.
You would have thought Snoop Dogg was at my house as I was watching dressage the last time that I was watching it. Just saying, that's what it felt like. It's probably what he's having to do with some of these sports.
You and Snoop, both of y'all was snooping.
We were BFFs watching some dressage. I'm telling you, at least it would have felt like it on there. As he is the hitman Blaine Bishop, I am Joe Hunk. And no, the Titans can't have nice things on the offensive line because, yes, Shadiq Charles has retired. We talk about that and what on earth this offensive line is going to look like going into Saturday's game against the 49ers on 104.5 The Zone.
What the?
So many people trust Two Rivers Ford. Football players, working moms, business owners. Why? Because Two Rivers Ford has been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Continuing on this Wednesday here on 104.5 The Zone, as he is the hitman Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk. Brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, where you can also sit and watch the show by simply going to Zone TV on YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch, and get on the F&M Bank chat where Lonzo says Snoop said them horses were crip walking.
that makes a lot of sense.
I showed it to you during the break. I showed you
that was
dressage.
insane, man. It made me think that, my Westminster dog show should be in the Olympics as well. Because that's kind of what they were, simulating. They were kind of dancing, walking sideways, doing stuff in circles, just kind of prancing a certain way, which is really difficult for them, So, yeah, I don't know why the dog show in there, too, there.
Well, no, and we just got a video of somebody that was where Snoop Dogg was talking about dressage because he's watching.
Was he?
Yes.
What did he say?
He was serious about the crip walking. Like that wasn't Lonzo just being a joke.
Okay.
He really did say.
Oh, he did say that.
Yeah, he really did say. He goes, somebody, Alex said that Snoop needs to perform during that. Maybe a dance studio endorsement for the horse dancers. That's dressage is it. We've also thrown that question out on 104.5 The Zone's X feed that you can go in and we would be honest. I just admitted that I spent 30 minutes watching a horse dance. Okay, so we can all be honest with ourselves because we're just trying to be happy because we all thought that we had 4 of the 5 positions figured out on the offensive line. And then yesterday at about 3:30, all of us in Tennessee had to go, wait, are you serious? Shadid Charles really retiring? What the heck just happened? I want to blame what happened. I really want to know because
I don't know. I have no idea. It could have been something on the personal level. I have no clue. But I'm going to say this. I was cheering for Dylan Radins. And I know a lot of people aren't because they give up on people initially after they don't have success early. And then he has some injuries. He's had 3 coaches in 4 years with a different coach. I said this when I first went out there. He looked like a different player, not in training camp. I'm talking about OTAs is what I said about him. So I was a little bit different than everyone else. I was surprised Shadid Charles was ahead of him because if you go look at the history of Shadid Charles is that he's been injured most of the time. If he was a bona fide starter, he'd already been a starter. So he was kind of that guy that was, mixed in there after someone got injured. And then he was always getting injured himself. I thought I wanted Dylan Radins to win the job. So that's kind of, I never really looked at Charles, so I have no idea why he retired. Probably maybe he got injured. I don't know. But a lot of people are saying it was for personal reasons, so I don't know what that's about. But, yeah, a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on in their lives besides football. So he made that choice. And so if he determines to come back, I think the Titans hold his right. What it does do, though, it gives opportunity to not just Dylan Radins, because I think that's pretty obvious. But who does that open a window for as a backup to make the roster? Do you move Brunskill back to guard as a backup role, backup guard center? Do you bring someone else in? So that was, more so what I was thinking about there. I think I want to see Dylan Radins do well because every time he's gotten out there, all I'm going to go to is the Pittsburgh Steelers game. He played guard and tackle in that game, and I think he actually played okay. And that showed me a lot, that he had a lot of mental toughness because of what he had gone through, whether it was injury, getting benched, not living up to the hype of a second-round pick, and then coming back playing 2 different positions, which is tough to do in a game like that and do solid. So I thought, man, you can build on this. And it just kind of never happened because some coaches, which is kind of a little perturbing for me from a coach's perspective, being that I'm a coach myself, is some coaches, once their mind is made up, they never change because they now want to be right. I look at it as opportunity shows what he could potentially do. Now let's work and develop that talent instead of just giving up on a guy. So that's kind of how I view it. I don't know if that's just a soft side of me, but I really think Dylan Radins is in the right spot. Whether he wants to be on the left or right is 2 different stories. But I think he's at the right position at guard, and I think he can have some success there. And I think he can actually be a starter in this league. And we're going to find out this year because this is make or break for him because he can get paid off of this year if he starts, which I think he will.
Yeah, and in fact, right after practice happened, Will Levis was asked about the Shadiq Charles retirement, what he said when he talked to him earlier today, and here's what Will had to say.
I just wish him the best. It was definitely a shock to all of us, and we want to make sure that he has his privacy and his comfort in his decision. But, I love the short amount of time. I love the short amount of time that I had with Sadiq, and I wish to talk to him here pretty soon to kind of hear if he's open to it. But all I got to say is I wish him the best in the rest of his career.
Yeah, and his injury history, when it comes to it, he did have a concussion in 2022 that cost him 4 games. In 2020, he had a dislocation, patellar dislocation that cost him about 11 games. He's had some knee injuries, some calf strains, but
Meanwhile, he was never the starter.
No.
Right. See, the backup can't have that kind of history. The starter could have that kind of history because he's proven he's a starter in this league, not the backup. Every time you as a backup, if you don't make the most of your opportunities, you go, well, dang, he got injured every time he got an opportunity, didn't he?
Yeah, in 2020, 21, and 22, he started a total of 8 games. And then last year, he started 10 games for Washington across the offensive line in the way they played.
So he had some versatility to him.
He had versatility to him. It was just surprising because he came in, and when you and I were out at practice a couple of weeks ago, the first thing we looked at is, all right, well, who's the ones? And we're like, hey, who's that? Wait a second, he's at right guard, and everybody around us that had been in a lot of practices says, yep, he's getting the reps with the ones. And from here on out, all we heard about was how Charles was going to be your starting right guard.
Right. Yeah, and it was from OTAs. Seems like they were kind of, I'm not going to give it 50-50. It's probably reps then at that time. I'm not sure how much he was doing. Dylan Raiders was splitting time with him with the ones, but looked like Charles was in the seat to be the starter, though.
Did this ever happen in your career where you're in training camp and obviously injuries happen or retirement or anything like that took place when you were playing that had like a ripple down effect of it or something along this line where guy just out of the blue gone?
Oh, man, I probably covering. I can't remember who it was, but as a player, no, that never happened. Not that I can recall, and I can forget a lot of stuff. So, because I'm not really paying attention to, I'm so focused. So I don't recall anybody that I was playing with, but I'm sure there was somebody.
See, this happened on my junior year of college. We were about to go into the season, and our shortstop was done for the season. Right. Like it was maybe 2 weeks before the season started. He was done for a medical reason, and it threw everything off for us because he was our leadoff man. He was our
how
starting
long had he been your starter?
He had just transferred in, but we had already had the depth chart solidified. There was, his backup, we knew was his backup for a reason. And so what eventually ended up happening is we had to move our second baseman over. We had to find a new second baseman. At one point in time, our second baseman that moved to shortstop gets injured, and then we had to bring in our starting catcher to move to shortstop. Like everything was thrown off.
Yeah, well, I won't say that in this situation because he had been here, but only for this off season. So I don't think it's the same situation. But I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I said, it affects depth now and who gets an opportunity or what decisions they decide to. If they decide that they don't believe in Dylan Radins and they want to go after another guard as a starter. I don't think it'll throw because Dylan Radins was doing some 1 reps. So I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, especially since it's so early. So I'm kind of glad that it's there. I don't know what he said his personal situation, so you never know. He maybe lost his passion for the game. Maybe he had something happen in his family. I have no idea. Maybe he got another injury and he just said, this is enough. I don't know. I don't know the mindset. I don't know him at all. So I'm going to look forward and, always thinking about who's going to replace him. Are we comfortable with who that is? And do we keep it moving and look at the backups? Or do we need to bring somebody in with a little more gravitas, some experience?
Yeah, like the first thing I did was let's go start looking at free agents. Because
Who was out there?
I mean, there's some guys, but just, I mean, DJ Humphries is available. He's about to be 31 years old after playing with the Cardinals last year.
I have no idea who these people are. I might remember from college or something.
I'm about to say Dwayne Brown was a left tackle for the Jets last year, which obviously they lost their quarterback in the first place, so let's not talk about him. Mark Glowinski from the Giants was starting guard for them last year, for the Giants last year. Like the names on the list when it comes to like offensive linemen, you're going, like maybe.
Nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out. So that makes me wonder now if you are Rand and you're paying attention to what, the way training camp is going for a lot of teams, are you now looking and watching other preseason games differently and trying to say, okay, who could potentially be available here in about 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Offensive lineman, or even if you bring him as a veteran backup, who can play both. But to me, you have Brunskill there who started guard and who can play center. So to me, he's your utility guy. He probably can even do left guard too. So, and I know they got Corey Levin, who's kind of brought in for the backup center. So I think they're in somewhat of a safe position. I was interested to see if Brunskill actually was going to make the roster because I think he's, his salary was a little bit more than a backup in this league. I think $3 million or so. I don't know what the number was, but I was like, man. So now to me, regardless if you were in his corner to be, as a starter or not, which they didn't, obviously, because he started last year. So Callahan said that. No, and you can see his body. He looks different compared to the other linemen. But that doesn't mean he can't be a really good player. Great athletes come in different shapes and forms and sizes. I think his strength was more of an issue. So that's why they moved him to center. Especially at that guard. Those guard guys are some compact powerhouse guys. And so that's what I could see with Radens is he got thicker and he was stronger. It was no question. The coaching by Callahan and Bertha and all that stuff, that helped him. And he looked drastic and improved. So I'm interested to see where they go. I think they're going to play it by ear, though, to see what happens with Radens and even the backups in their development. And then who comes available? You never know. Somebody may get cut that's a starter in this league just because they want them to take a pay cut. And then, there you go. Now, with that being said, I don't know if I'm bringing in a lineman late. So you saying after the preseason? I don't know if I really like that. I'm a big proponent, especially with offensive linemen. Me personally, is I like chemistry amongst my five. And I want them to play together for a while because I want them to be able to work as one and they almost think the same and it's like it works in unison. It's almost like watching synchronized, swimming here or whatever, dancing or even your horses dancing, multiple horses.
Oh, them horse dancing. I
want to see those big old bears dancing all together. And that takes time and chemistry. So I don't know if I really want to bring in, unless somebody else gets hurt during preseason, well, then now you're put in a corner where you have to.
Well, and that makes me wonder because Quandre Diggs was asked about how much time it's going to take him to get up to speed and everything like that today. And you're thinking, safeties, secondary players, that's different.
That is.
But what position on the football field is the hardest to get caught up to speed? You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about
quarterback.
Yeah,
quarterback
like
naturally. To me, all the positions where you're actually the commander in chief, and when I say that, I'm talking about the guy who's actually making the calls, making adjustments. You're kind of the quarterback of your group. So I would always say quarterback is always going to be good, or tough mentally. Your centers, because you're calling the blocking schemes off of the quarterback, and then your linebacker or whoever has the green dot. And then your safety or safeties who are making the calls and adjustments and see things before everybody else because they have the vision to see. So those are the positions that are a little tougher just on being part of a scheme and a system. Other positions to me, I think you can find a way. Like if you go get a tackle. Oh, okay, we got a left tackle. Well, get that guy. Block that guy. You're getting a pass rusher. I mean, it's not a lot,
Right.
You got some schemes and everything else. I'm not going to act like it's easy, but I think that's easier. Cornerback. Oh, well, when man-to-man, you got the guy in front of you. If it's through, you run across on the other side of emotions. I mean, it's not, in our zones, we may do something different, but so I think those positions are always tough because I'm a big proponent of chemistry. To me, I played on some teams where we had some dynamic chemistry we could almost read each other. It was like, husband and wife, almost like that. It was like we could just look at each other and be like, yep, that's
You saw it? I saw it too.
Yeah, we about to, So and that's where you want to get to. And then that's where you can be special because you know the tendencies of your own teammates and you play off of them.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are things now that I'm seeing when just watching some of these films that have been released, like people shoot the videos and things that they will drop after practice of one-on-one drills and things along those lines because of stuff that you have said or Coach Mack has said during the conversations. Happy birthday to him, by the way. If all these conversations, it's Coach Mack's birthday.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
Mike Keith was tweeting about it earlier today. Yeah, it's so.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's so. Like I'm looking at things now and I'm going, I never would have noticed X because of that, because of now some things that you have said about
or
watching
Coach Mack
films
or,
and looking
Ramon
at those things.
or Beehive. I mean, guys who were former players, they pay attention to certain things more so than from a media perspective. But I get it though. I understand it. So hey, it's something you have to deal with. Every team is dealing with it right now. So you shall see who's the last man standing. But I'm more concerned right now what's going to happen with Key.
Yes, because we still haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard snipping or anything, and they still haven't running with the one. So, until they come out officially with his punishment, or if any, then they're going to keep rolling with him. But who are you going to put in his spot if it does happen? That. You already have to start pre-planning. And see, to me, you can go pick, I just said tackle, I'll use that as an example. You can go pick up a pass rusher. Say, go get the quarterback. It's not that hard. Go get the guy with the ball. You're on the outside edge. You got to know when you got to contain. You got to know when you need to spill. And everything else is, man, you one-on-one, let's go.
I mean, you've got Shaq Lawson available. You have Carl Lawson available.
I don't want anything got to do with some Lawson.
Okay, what about a bar? Do we need to raise the bar and get Anthony Barr?
Oh, you brought him up before. I don't know if he's a passer. He's a linebacker.
Well, it pops up under edge rushers. So that's kind of the list that I'm going on.
That on third down. I have no idea.
Well, but with that was even Callahan talked about it today, like in the media scrum that he did before practice of like, hey, look, we know Arden's going to miss some time, but we don't know how much. We're waiting on the league to let us know. So it almost is is it going to be 6 games? Is it going to be 3?
Watch this. I'm about to blow you away.
Oh, crap.
Would you?
Oh, don't do this.
Would you?
No, this is what you just did with Traylon Burks and NWI yesterday.
You trade for Hassan Riddick, who hasn't showed up for camp. Who was the team he got traded to? The Jets?
Yes.
Yes. Remember? Because I was like, oh, would you? I he was with the Eagles, so we know he can pass rush. But I don't know if that's worth going after.
See, now I've got to go.
That's what comes to mind. He is not at camp, so he's supposedly getting fined. I don't know if that's true or not. We can ask Jordan Dajani at 220.
Yes.
But I'm sure there's somebody else, but he's the first one that comes to mind. I wasn't even thinking about this till we sit here and start talking about it. Like, man. Like, woo. Let's think about this. Hassan Riddick and Harold Landry. Oh, and then Key will be back. Now we got something. Now we playing with something. And I'm sure there's some other guys out there, but I think it's another defensive. No, somebody else is potentially probably should be traded. I don't know. They're unhappy.
Hassan Riddick, obviously, he was at a Pro Bowl last year. He had 11 sacks last season. He had 16 sacks in 2022, and in 2021, he had 11 more sacks with Carolina. And before that, during the COVID year of 2020, he had 12 and a half sacks.
Right.
And he's scheduled to make $14.5 million.
And he got traded there, correct?
He is.
To the Jets? Is it right? Is it the Jets?
It is the Jets. No,
Yeah,
it absolutely is the Jets, yes.
And I think it was in promise that they were going to give him a long-term deal. So that's why he's not at camp. He goes, well, y'all didn't give me a deal. So I don't know if he's getting fined or not.
He was traded from Philly for just a conditional third-round pick. They were just trying to get rid of that man.
Yeah.
A conditional third-round pick.
I think the same issue happened there. Hey, I got to get paid. After you read those numbers, 16, 12, 10, 11, you're like, dude, what? Hey, man, I'm doing this consistent. It's not no one-year wonder. Give me my money.
In 2022, he caused 5 fumbles. He forced 6 fumbles in 2020.
And they said it's that. What did he do in 2023?
2023 had 11 sacks. He had one pass deflection. He didn't have any fumbles or anything like that, but he did finish the season with 38 total tackles. He started all 17 games for Philly.
So, yeah. I don't know if you could get traded twice, right? I guess.
I guess. I mean, if he doesn't want to be there, between him and Judon and New England.
I don't see. That's another thing. You think he's holding out? He wants a new contract.
He was holding out. I don't know if he's still holding out. I'll look that information
I wanted them to sign him when he was a free agent. I remember. I was like, whoa, they need to sign Judon.
Well, let's be careful at the people we mentioned because yesterday Blaine brings up one player.
Oh, that was an accident.
And then what happens this morning? I'll explain when we come back as he's the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Oh.
Yep. It just clicked. There we go. We continue. 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop. I want to know if you have heard about peptides. Peptides are shaking up the fitness world, and they are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies. So as we age, they start to decline, and at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why our workouts can stop being productive at the gym. Or maybe you feel like you've hit a wall, or perhaps you feel tired all the time. You may be struggling to stay awake in the evenings, just like when you get home from work. Or if you thought this is just a normal part of aging, it doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, help with recovery between workouts, and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are safe, naturally occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals. A natural and holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what's going on inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance, just like I did. So feel better from the inside out. So go to edgepeptide.com or you can just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
I look into the control room as Jackson Williams with us today.
Bananas. I was like, what happened?
Well, Jackson.
You had a potty break?
Yeah, Jackson had a potty break.
I've been in here for
okay.
a while.
You didn't leave us hanging. Okay, that's
He just had a quick little potty break as the hitman Blaine Bishop and myself, Joe Hunk, brought to you by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. And I look through into the abyss and I see Jackson dancing to some Michael Jackson in there.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at him.
Oh,
he's doing some Michael Jackson dance.
Oh, I see you spacewalking back there. I didn't know you had that in your repertoire, just like those horses.
Yeah, my repertoire since '99, Blaine.
He's also going to hop on the.
99.
Oh, and now we can actually talk about Deadpool with Jackson because he went and saw it last night.
Oh, did you?
I did.
He finally went and saw it.
Oh, what'd you think?
I thought it was really good. It was actually a lot better than I had medium expectations going in, and it exceeded them. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Would you call it a kind of a guy flick or no?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, yeah, okay.
My sister was like, should me and my husband go see it? I go, you would hate this movie. Oh, yeah, don't go see it.
His first words to me today when I walked in is like, hey, good thing you didn't take your son.
Yeah, but
there's no way.
You got to have,
No, there's no way on earth I could have taken
I was
my son.
definitely skeptical, like, are you sure? Then I went to it. It was a lot of bloody stuff. Even if it was in fun, it was still a lot.
My son still doesn't know that I went and saw the movie.
Oh.
He has no idea that I've went and seen it without him because he's like, so when can I watch Deadpool and Wolverine? I said, probably when you're 18.
3 to 5 years.
I mean, seriously. I mean, he's not going to jail. 3 to 5.
Well, how old? He's 5?
He's 5 years old now. I mean, look,
okay.
I think back to what I was watching. I was born in 84. So that means in 1989, would I have watched Deadpool and Wolverine if it would have been back then? Would I have been freaked out by it? I wouldn't. But I was also watching like Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween movies when I was like 4 and 5 years old.
Oh, okay. So you never had any nightmares?
No. I did. I had nightmares all the time. Oh, but I just had fun in them.
So does your son have nightmares?
No. Oh, yeah. My son has nightmares. No. In all seriousness, not joking. My son has night terrors.
Oh, what is that?
Night terrors is when you wake up. Your child is awake. They sit up like they're awake. They're
awake.
Like they're awake. Their eyes are open. They will be communicating and talking. They are not awake whatsoever.
Oh, so it's like sleepwalking.
Yes. And so, but what happens is they're still in their dream. Oh. So if they're having like a nightmare, there have been times, and I'm not trying to be funny, there have been times where we've had to wrap my son up, like arms over arms and legs over legs, like basically a human strap, just making sure that he's not moving because he hurts himself. So yeah,
he definitely shouldn't be watching it.
He couldn't see it. There's no way on earth he could have seen it.
He can't watch it. You shouldn't even consider it till he's 10.
No, absolutely. I showed him 5 seconds of the intro because I wanted to show him the NSYNC dance, and all he did was the moment that blood splattered on the screen, he goes, "Nope, I'm out.
Oh, okay.
Can't do this."
Yeah, because it starts off bloody right off the bat.
Absolutely, it does. And everybody, by the way, for all parents that are listening right now, please educate your children on this. It is not the Deadpool dance. This is the NSYNC Bye 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 dance, and we were coming up with this 25 years ago, okay? This is nothing new. This is not, there is now a TikTok trend of kids that are going, hey, do the Deadpool dance with me. And they're doing NSYNC's Bye 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 dance. It's from the music video. Educate your kids.
I see how serious you're getting over there.
I'm telling you, it annoys me because they're like, "Oh, I'm doing the Deadpool challenge." No, that is called NSYNC, and Justin Timberlake was doing that 25 years ago before you were even thought of. Okay, like that's the truth.
This is true.
It's the truth on there. It's also the truth is I was really excited about the offense until all this stuff with Charles started happening, and now
you're sad.
Now I am because
I think we're gonna be okay. I think we're okay with Dylan Reed. I know a lot of people have thrown him out. I'm just not that guy. Here's why: as a coach, you got to continually coach the backups.
Yes,
just like as though they're starter. Even if a guy used to be a starter or didn't never pan out, or he had an injury, he just never seemed to be the player, because you never know when you're gonna need that guy. And guess what? He may determine if you own the job or not. Not to say that happened.
Absolutely.
So that's why you keep coaching them up, supporting them, and then hopefully it clicks in. I think he is almost there. Now all you have to do is have positive affirmation that he gets it done now in the preseason, that they will believe in him fully. And I think he can do it. I do.
So in that case, then, because we posted this question on X just a few seconds ago, which position would you want to see the Titans add to? Would it be right guard or would it be edge rusher? Because I was looking up Judon.
Oh, I'm edge rusher.
And so the whole idea with Judon is I believe he's at least back to practicing now after the holdout, but he still wants a new long-term contract with the Patriots. So the whole hold-in that he was having was all because he was wanting
to pay raise.
Exactly.
He wanted to pay
and
raise. So he's like Trent Williams, who's not there, is he?
No, yeah. Trent Williams was having a holdout, whereas in Brandon Ayuk is having a hold in.
Right.
And if I'm correct, and I know that you would know the verbiage better, a hold in means that you're not getting fined because you're in the building, you're just not practicing.
And to me, that's a weird set of dynamics because you're in all the meetings and everything, and you're out there watching practice. Like, when are you getting your conditioning in?
Yes.
Like, when am I'm training for football? Like, all during this time. That's what would be concerning to me as a player. Is he doing it at lunch, or is he doing it in the evenings when practice is over, at meetings, or at night? What is he doing? Especially when you're a skill guy. I'm like, hey, man, I got to be getting some 60-yard, 100-yard sprints in. Mm-hmm. And I got to get my weightlifting in, so he's probably lifting weight with his teammates. But it's always a weird dynamic. And by the way, there's a lot of people saying that deal's not done, but Ayuk is going to be in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and that's because initially they thought he was going to be in New England, speaking of Judon.
Yeah, they backed out.
And they backed out. So now the whole idea is with Pittsburgh, where Justin Fields is actually getting the start this weekend because Russell Wilson, even though he's the number one, is not going to be playing this weekend. So Justin
Tomlin said this is a competition at quarterback. And so now with the injury to Russell, I know me and Russell are related, third cousins, but I think Fields going to get him.
Oh, third cousins?
Yeah, third cousins.
That's way better than some of the people.
But every time, your third cousin asked him for a loan when he got that new contract, he act like he didn't know me.
Yeah. Can you show me the family history?
Yeah.
And to Nathaniel.
So I reached out to his wife, and she said, no, he can't do that.
He can't? No. And Nathaniel on the F&M Bank chat says, are they done spoiling Deadpool? We never actually spoiled anything with Deadpool,
we didn't do anything. We just said it was out and it was a great movie.
And
it's a guy flick.
There was the NSYNC dance at the very beginning. That's it.
We can start.
No, we have to wait.
No,
you
said 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You said it was 2. I don't know the rule.
2 weeks. So on Friday, we can start making Deadpool jokes.
Hey, Jack, you agree with that, Jackson?
I'm in, yeah. 2 weeks. Friday.
And before we go, because I just wanted to bring it up, because I don't want us to forget about it, be very cautious with any player that we ever mention on the show. Because yesterday, Blaine, who did you bring up?
Wallow?
Yes.
The linebacker, he was running second team from TCU. He was a fraud. We asked Coach Mack about it.
Is the key word, because now he's done for the season with a pec injury after we just spent an hour talking about him yesterday.
Oh, my. I take everything back about ratings.
Yeah, see, now there was if he gets injured tomorrow, let's go to break. If he gets injured tomorrow.
I didn't say it. Ratings is going to be the start all season.
615-737-1045. He's the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone.
No. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you it'll be ready at 4 p.m. and it's not. People are really tired of that stuff. So if you had this with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come on over to Eurofix. And Eurofix turns unreliable into reliable. And Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's really ready, so you don't have to stand around waiting all freaking day. And Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer and without the dealer pricing. And that's because the dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of the dealership's overhead. And that's a lot of moolah money, by the way. And why would you want to pay for that? Well, at Eurofix, reliable also means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. So make sure you call ahead, as loaner cars are very, very popular. So if you're tired of the unreliable repair shops, come on over to Reliable, and that'll be Eurofix.
Family owned for 24 years. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Second hour, final hour, best hour on 104.5 The Zone, as he is the hitman Blaine Bishop, which on the F&M Bank chat is saying that he is living up to his name. I'll explain in just a second. I am Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And yes, the F&M Bank chat is where you can watch Zone TV. You can hop in on the F&M Bank chat there by going to YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Twitch. And Big Tasty says that Blaine is living up to his nickname of Hitman, as he's taken out every player that he talks about.
I hope that is not the case, man. I'm talking to him in goodwill, man. Oh, man, I don't wish that on anybody,
Blaine,
man.
seriously, yesterday pulls up the depth chart, and he's like, I asked him, I said, Blaine, who stands out on this depth chart to you? And he goes, man, there's this and this. And he goes, then there's this second string linebacker. I don't even know who he is. And next thing you know, you start talking about Garrett Wallow. We talk about him for a good hour.
Yeah.
We go through his history. We go through
TCU, he was a frog.
Yeah.
He asked Coach Mack.
We talked to Coach Mack about him. Like, he's
He
like,
was-
of course
yeah.
I know who he is. He was on
doing a
the
great
team last
job.
year. Everything. And then we wake up this morning. I open up my X feed, and next thing you know, I see Callahan says that Wallow is done for the season with a pec injury. And I'm just like, great. We literally just jinxed him.
He did too many push-ups. he got too tight. Got too tight around the chest area, and dang it.
So-
he probably, what happens is he probably reached for, man, it's just,
Blaine,
man.
if something happens to
Dang.
Dylan Radins tomorrow,
I'm you know what? If it happens, I'm gonna go give him a hug. I am. If something happens to him, I am, because I told you I'm biased. I think he can play. I'm sorry. I think he can play. I know it's late, but it's never too late. And I think he can start in this league. So I want to see him out there and see if I'm right or wrong about him.
well, the other person that we talked about comes back to what you also did yesterday, which was bring up the question of Traylon Burks or NWI. Now, both players are healthy. Let me emphasize this. Even though Burks had a little bit of a hiccup at the end of practice, he had a little tweak today at the end of practice, but he's fine from what we're being told. But Will Levis earlier today, as once practice wrapped up, was actually asked about NWI, and here is what Levis had to say.
You got to give credit to NWI. Like, Nick's been playing well. He's always been a guy who's on his stuff, and other receivers are always looking to him to learn from and to make sure that they're on their stuff, because they know Nick's going to be coming prepared every day. He's a guy who doesn't get enough credit around here in this building. Deserves a lot of opportunities. And he got paid for a reason. So he's such a great part of this team, and he deserves a lot of looks.
So now he's being asked about NWI. It goes back to what we were talking about yesterday with Burks, comparing him to NWI. And look, even go back to our conversation that you said with Coach Matt, where we brought up Wallow, ripped to his season. But we bring him up, and Coach Mack says the one that's available and the most reliable is the one that you're going to is the one that's going to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is that NWI? Does that now mean that, we're going to see even more of him come Saturday, because they're trying to figure out who could fill the gap for D-Hop if D-Hop's injury is longer than what they think? Maybe week 1, maybe week 2, we don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting. I don't know what the coach's dynamic is. I want to think that Burks is going to start off, but they could be thinking differently with the other starting unit. He may also then be with the 2 unit as well, so he may have extensive more playing time than the actual starters, just so I can get a better look at him. I think it's pretty clear what NWI can do. You want to see what he can do in this offense in a live, game, which is preseason. So, but I want to see if he can elevate to the level of his talent. And some players, especially first rounders, sometimes just never get to that level of their athletic ability for whatever reason. And I don't know why that happens to some of these guys who are super dynamic. And I don't know if it's because it's the first time they've run into, these dudes are just as good as me, and they've relied on their talent. They never had to adjust and, study the game plan. You hear what he just said about NWI, Levis? Guys go to him. You know why? Because guess what? He always knew that I don't have that super duper athletic ability. I got good athletic ability. I'm in the league, of course, but I have to rely on this to differentiate myself from the rest. Well, some first rounders who are super gifted, talented, off the charts, they have never had to do that.
Yeah.
And so now that's a learning process, and some never get over it.
Well, it's small, minute adjustments that you have to make
Yeah.
that make the difference. Like small
Little detail-oriented things.
Yes.
That, the players who were good enough to get in the league, but not exceptional. I'm going to say the word exceptional athletes. They're really good athletes. I was one of them. You parlay your game on all the little things, and then your brains as an athlete as well as your conditioning. And that sounds like NWI. Now, can Burks get to that level? And that's what you want to see. And can he stay available?
Yeah, and you also figure out, okay, well, who's going to be throwing him the football on Saturday? Because Levis has hinted that the ones are going to play a little bit. In fact, Andy Reid just a few minutes ago said that with the Chiefs preseason game that all of their starters are going to play at least a quarter. Will Levis was talked about the differences going into this preseason as compared to last preseason and about the comfort level that he's experiencing right now.
Yeah, I remember being nervous. It was, going to Chicago and, historic stadium like that, and me and Malik being able to go out there and play. It was definitely nervousness, and I remember it stunk. I had an injury I was dealing with, and I came back for it and then re-injured myself in that game, and I couldn't play the rest of the preseason. But, yeah, definitely just more confidence and not as much nerves. Definitely going to still be some nerves, as there always is, regardless of what game, preseason or not. So looking forward to it, to leading these guys and going out there and just doing our thing.
How much do you want to see him in the preseason?
Talking about Levis?
About Levis. How much?
Yeah, every game. I want to see him in every single game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure, a quarter. And actually, at some point, I probably want to see 2 quarters. He's still a young player. He's still developing. You got to play him. Sorry. And it unfortunately, force them to play other players at other positions because they want to see him.
Right.
I think to me now, we're in a day and age where you got to see players in the preseason revving up for the regular season. It's just, and then you can talk about all these, inner scrimmages amongst other teams. That's a glorified preseason game, but preseason is not like the regular season. Regular season is not like the playoffs. There's a whole nother level of speed and intensity to each level. So I would want to see him out there, especially because you're in a new offense. You want him to experience as much as possible in a live game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm playing him. And, by the way, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback as far as Burks or NWI, whoever's the freaking quarterback is, I'm going to throw to a spot, you better be there. That's it. So the time has got to be there regardless of who's throwing the football to you. As a receiver, you got to be at a certain spot at a certain time. If you're not there, then I'm going to hit you in the back of your head with the ball. I mean, it's that serious now.
No,
we starting to get, hey, man, you may cost me an interception on my stats and everything else, and everybody else is blaming the quarterback when you weren't where you're supposed to be. So, I think these are all little things that you were talking about that, needs to be addressed in games that, players and coaches don't ever talk about.
Well, and the part with Levis and trying to figure out how much he is or isn't going to play, T.N. Berg on the F&M Bank chat says, if Levis looks awful in the preseason, there are going to be fans diving headfirst off of a cliff in here. Now, I only brought that up because you and I had this discussion before the show. You talked about it on the air a few weeks ago about preseason and it being so much different than what the regular season is. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of times we'll see this from beat writers, and again, they're just doing their jobs. Beat writers will say, oh, well, Will Levis threw 3 interceptions today. Or, oh, you saw me, who's getting pissed off about Chig fumbling all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, they talk about that. For fans and stuff like that don't and haven't heard you talk about the preseason, because this blew me away the other day when you were talking about it. How do teams approach a preseason game for the 3 weeks that they're going up against other teams?
Well, it's kind of interesting. It depends on the head coach. But for me, I was with the same head coach, pretty much Jeff Fisher, and then it was Andy Reid, and they were pretty much the same as far as this is concerned. They didn't even game plan for the actual teams they were playing. Like, I had to go watch extra film on my own because I was that kind of player that I felt like I needed to watch film of this team more than the little bit we've watched, because you're working really on game planning what we can do offensively and defensively, and we're working on different things, and they actually are planning for that first game already and doing different things in games as though they're playing that opponent. So
they're not game planning for it. They want to just see guys play base principles, see how guys play without having to think, or, see if you can be in open field, put them in compromising positions. I really used to think they always wanted the corners being man-to-man, so let's see what they feel like out there when the bright lights turn on, especially a young player. So that, they're working on different things, not necessarily. Sometimes it made me feel like, do they even care about winning the actual game?
Yeah, because some of these games, again, I work for Titans Radio during the game. I'm the one that cuts up highlights during the game. During preseason, there'll be some games I may have 3-4 highlights, like it's 9-6 ball game. Yeah. Like you're just going, God, this is awful.
Yeah. And preseason is kind of crazy because you got different players playing. Just like when we were talking about the Hall of Fame game.
Yes.
I said that the Bears won, the Texans were the better team. You could see it from the initial jump. Their guys were better than the Bears. And I don't care who won the game. If they would have played their twos or versus your twos, they were the better twos. When I say twos, I'm talking about backup guys because they didn't anybody play their starters. So. So this is kind of weird to say stuff like that, but that's what happens. Let's say the first quarter that the starters play, the Titans dominate their starters, and then they lose the game. You go, well, objective wasn't here. It's to win, hopefully, but we're going to work on some things, and we saw what our ones and twos can do, and we just want to get comfortable, make sure now what pieces can be added, subtracted, who can fill holes for us, who look like they're players, who stood out on the third team, who could be a practice squad or a backup guy on our roster. So that's what they're really looking at in totality.
All right, we come back. Jordan Dajani joins us from CBS Sports. He's not only going to talk about the Titans, but also the other preseason games that are getting going starting tomorrow night. We've got preseason games happening there as we continue. He's the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunt, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, Tennessee, summer's in full swing, and Cool Ray's here to make sure your home is ready for all the fun and the sun. We've got some sizzling deals that will keep you comfortable and worry-free all season long. So ensure your family stays hydrated and healthy with free water quality testing, because nothing beats a refreshing drink of pure water on a hot summer day. And Cool Ray also offers a $149 main sewer line camera inspection. And right now, they also offer 15% off whole home dehumidifiers, as well as $500 off whole home generators. So let Cool Ray take care of your home so you can focus on making memories. So call us today and take advantage of those scorching hot deals. Cool Ray, your trusted partner for a cool and comfortable Tennessee summer. So visit coolray.com or call us now. Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and always lights bright.
Is this considered a spoiler? Since Nathaniel asked about us doing spoilers, is this considered a spoiler by Jackson playing this song?
Oh,
Power of Love?
yeah.
Okay,
Were you thinking it?
No, I don't think it is. I thought it has the soundtrack to Deadpool is one of the best soundtracks that you can listen to because all the music is absolutely amazing on there. Now, before this though, Jackson, could you do me a favor before we bring Jordan Dajani on?
Oh, you got spoiler alert?
We need an Olympics a spoiler sound.
I love that idea when you did this.
Look, I'm just trying to make sure I cover my. Yeah. So, former Vanderbilt track and field athlete Lily Williams just won a gold medal in the women's team pursuit cycling event, as she is the middle distance runner she was the middle distance runner for the Commodores cross country and track team back from 2012 to 2016 before she swapped to cycling. So that is one gold medal that Team USA has won. And just a few minutes ago, Quincy Hall just picked up a gold medal after winning the men's 400-meter final.
It was crazy. He was in fifth. Like coming down to the last 30 meters.
Look, if
he's fourth right there.
And tonight, when you get to watch this, I promise you, as you're watching him run, you're thinking he's about to bust his face because he looked like he was losing control. He does. Look, I mean, they're showing it right now. Like, as he was coming from behind, I thought this man's either going to win or he's about to bust his face on the track.
Some serious ugly faces, too.
He was about to, as we bring Jordan Dajani on right now. As speaking of some ugly faces, some Titans fans are having and making some ugly faces today as they wake up to the news about Charles being retired now, no longer on the Titans roster, as he was about to be the starting right guard for this team going into week 1 against the Bears. Jordan, and what do you think about the news of him retiring?
Yo, what's going on, my friends? Thanks for having me on the show. You know, this is pretty big, in my opinion. I'm not going to try to pretend like this was a Pro Bowler in the making, but guys, Sadiq Charles was at the very least battling for the right guard spot, and he even earned the right to headline that position on the team's first unofficial depth chart. So also keep in mind that this was a player the front office targeted in free agency. I think that they envisioned him starting at right guard. And, last year he won the position battle for starting left guard in Washington. It was probably his best overall NFL season, but I'm not going to try to pretend like it was incredible. He didn't sign some massive deal in free agency. But it's tough because this, of course, happens on the right side of the offensive line, which is completely up in the air. That's good for Dylan Radins because now he's probably considered the starter in the house right now. But at the same time, you really do look at the quotes that Bill Callahan has put on paper since he got here to Nashville. And he's talked about having his best offensive lineman playing. So he's still going to have to go out there and earn that job, but it's a loss nonetheless.
Well, no, and Blaine and myself were talking about also the potential loss of Arden Key because the NFL still hasn't came down with if and or what and how long his suspension could be if that's taking the place. Now, Blaine was talking about the people that were behind Charles when it comes to filling that gap at the right guard position, but now we also have to look at Arden Key potentially missing anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks is what's being talked about. If you're the Titans, which position are you attacking when it comes to either bringing players in or once all the cuts are made after that final preseason game, which direction do you go?
Yeah, it's a good question because I really do imagine that Tennessee's front office is going to do their due diligence at both spots. But to answer that question, in my opinion, it totally matters on the player. And I think you could make the argument that there's probably more, let's call them notable names, immediate impact guys available on the market when it comes to pass rusher compared to offensive guard. If you look at the available players over at right guard, you're talking about like Mark Lewinsky, who played right guard, but he didn't even make it through week 1 last year before being benched. Returned to the lineup, was released later this offseason. I think there's a guy, Phil Haynes, who started at right guard last year for the Seahawks, but he suffered an injury as well. When you look at pass rusher, you guys have probably talked about it. There's guys like Carl Lawson still looking for a job. Yannick Ngakoue is certainly someone who has caught my eye as well. So I really do think it comes down to the player in terms of how the Titans front office looks at them as being an immediate impact guy. But at pass rusher, I mean, you have to imagine that they're going to give Rashad Weaver an opportunity to start opposite of Harold Landry whenever this suspension for Arden Key becomes official from the league.
Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports, hanging out with us here on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, Jordan, I was trying to think outside the box. What did you think about Hassan Riddick, and would he be able to be traded to the Titans? I know he's already gotten traded to the Jets, but he hadn't showed up basically. That was supposed to be an agreement and a long-term deal. It hadn't happened yet. So obviously he's unhappy. Do you think this is something that's a possibility, not just to the Titans, but anywhere?
Yeah, isn't that a funny situation? The Jets go out there and trade for Hassan Reddick, and they know he wants a new contract, but they did not get a new deal done with him when that trade became official, and they still haven't gotten a deal done with him just yet. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So with Hassan, he's obviously a solidified veteran. He turns 29 next month, I believe. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is that with his contract situation, he's reportedly looking for a deal that offers him somewhere around from $25 to $28 million per year. He wants to be a top 5 highest paid pass rusher. I don't know how many people believe he's going to get a deal like that. And I think on top of that, it would be probably the most embarrassing thing in the world for a GM to give up, a conditional third for a player with a looming contract issue just to trade him again for pennies, for less of what you offered for him from the Philadelphia Eagles initially. So, I looked into the situation. I saw that SNY did report that there is zero chance that this contract situation continues to linger to the point where he's either released or traded. So I would imagine that he ends up getting some kind of adjusted contract from the Jets. In terms of what that contract looks like, I don't know, but it would surprise me a little bit if he was traded to a team like the Tennessee Titans, who now appear to be in the market for a pass rusher.
No doubt about it. We're in with Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports. Give us a little insight on this wide receiver deal and what's going on, not only at the facility. The hold-ins are always kind of weird to me, kind of go through that dynamic with Shanahan. And then what's the potential that he'll be traded? Because a lot of people are saying behind the scenes now that he's going to Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, well. I mean, it looks like the 49ers may have made their decision to end the Brandon Ayuk saga. It seems like a trade does appear to be imminent. I don't think they're going to get a first-round pick. It's more likely going to be a package of picks plus a player or two. But then there comes the contract. So, I mean, there's two parts to this Brandon Ayuk trade. One is the compensation and the other is the contract. And what's interesting, I bring that up, is because Ayuk does have some quote-unquote leverage, because let's say he's traded to Carolina, for example, and he doesn't want to play there. It's a bad trade for the Panthers. So with a deal like this, everyone has to be on the same page. So the trade compensation part came first. And we saw that the 49ers had worked out deals with the Browns and the Patriots, but then those teams had to agree on contract extensions with Ayuk. It sounds like, I'm not reporting anything, but it sounds like New England may have been offering the most money to Ayuk. But Ayuk might have said no thank you to that potential landing spot. So it's interesting because money might not be the only thing that Ayuk is looking for. He's looking at a landing spot that gives him the opportunity to at least compete and be in the playoffs. And that's why everyone's pointing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think a big reason we haven't seen a trade happen just yet is because I brought up those two teams, the Patriots and the Browns. Those were the two teams who agreed with the 49ers for trade compensation. The Steelers were one of the teams initially, according to reports, they took themselves out of the running for a little bit because they didn't agree to the trade compensation part. So now we're all waiting to see what happens next, but it sounds like something's going to happen. And, I wrote a pretty interesting article for CBSSports.com looking at a report from the San Francisco Chronicle. According to them, Kyle Shanahan was actually bothered by Brandon Ayuk's behavior during this hold-in. The whole bro hug thing. Perceived brooding is the way that the San Francisco Chronicle put it. So whatever he's done, according to reports, has rubbed Kyle Shanahan the wrong way, and that might have played a big role in leading up to where we find ourselves today.
Well, that's kind of interesting that had to come out of San Francisco, so obviously the coach had to tell somebody that could actually hurt his trade value, and I don't know if I would have let that out, whether it was true or not. Because you're actually trying to trade the guy. So then now somebody can parlay in he's a disgruntled employee and that I don't want that kind of, cancerous type attitude around here. I don't know how they would perceive it, but I wouldn't be letting that out.
Yeah, I think that's a good point by you. But he's clearly disgruntled with his situation in San Francisco, and he's made that extremely clear. I mean, you could go back through his entire timeline from him somehow obtaining practice tape from the Washington Commanders to his comments on podcasts talking about how he can have great success with Jaden Daniels as his quarterback. So, if you want to take all those things into consideration, these are things that certainly can hurt his stock as a player. But the bottom line is that he still is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and there are going to be interested suitors. But it is interesting you bring up the whole facet of what exactly he's worth, because I'll tell you guys this is my bold take. I'm fully prepared to be underwhelmed not only by the trade compensation that, let's say, the Pittsburgh Steelers end up giving the 49ers, but also be a tad underwhelmed with the contract they gave Brandon Ayuk as well. Because, again, the Patriots were reportedly the team that was probably offering the most money. So what is that money going to look like when Brandon Ayuk finally signs it? Is it going to be top 5? I don't think so. I think we're talking about somewhere near $28 million a year.
No doubt about it, Jordan Dajani. One more question here. Is this make or break year for Daniel Jones and the Giants and Daboll?
I think it absolutely is. I mean, I think it's make or break for the Giants front office. I think it could be make or break for Brian Daboll. I think it could be make or break for Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones had a pretty good 2022 season, but 2023 was ugly to watch. And I understand that he was playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, but it was jarring to see because this offensive mastermind, supposedly with Brian Daboll, had orchestrated a great turnaround in 2022 that ended up with the Giants winning a playoff game. He was head coach of the year and all that. And then something clearly went awry with their preparations for 2023. So, yes, the Giants as a franchise, for multiple reasons, are definitely under a magnifying glass entering 2023. He's got a great, or 2024, I should say. He's got a great wide receiver in Malik Neighbors, who has been making highlight reel catch after highlight reel catch in training camp. But we'll see if that's going to equate to success on the field immediately.
Yeah, speaking of this, that they sent out a memo, the NFL, to all the teams about inter-squad scrimmages and practices, no fighting, and then they just fine them for $200,000. I mean, like, both teams? Is that how you perceive what they said on the X?
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought this up. So, if you didn't have an X account, but I'll tell you, the Lions and Giants had one of the more physical, feisty joint practices I can remember this week. And there were like 4 or 5 fights, including Malik Neighbors going after the veteran safety Kirby Joseph, which was pretty wild. But it caused the NFL to step in. So the league is fining both the Giants and the Lions $200,000 for all the fights that went down. But the reason this was done was to send a message, not to those two franchises, but send a message to the league as a whole. They want these joint practices to be professional outings, not WWE sideshows, which is what they devolved into with the Giants with the Giants and the Lions. So that is absolutely something to keep in mind when Tennessee hosts Seattle next week.
Yeah, just and maybe the Lions were just making fun of the Giants and how bad they looked in Hard Knocks on the offseason. Because do you know how hard it is for HBO?
He threw a punch at him on the way back to the huddle.
Yeah, I mean it was
an
nasty.
Arnold guy from Alabama.
And it is one that with this now, as you were speaking, by the way, Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports, it has actually just come out now that Robbie Chosen, the former wide receiver for the Panthers that had like 1,000-yard receiving season a couple of years ago, was actually just seen working out for the 49ers today.
There you go. The 49ers are trying to bring in their Brandon Ayuk replacement. I don't think Robbie Chosen is necessarily the guy to bring up that level of production, but I think it's clear. The one thing that really stood out to me about this whole saga was what it happened on Monday night. NFL media, NFL Network came out and reported that it's more likely now that Brandon Ayuk is traded than remains in San Francisco. So, it's something that we've all understood now. We're just waiting on terms basically to become official. But most people have been pointing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not done just yet. But they are certainly the team to watch.
Well, and as you were saying that, it also just came out that it wasn't just Chosen that was working out for the 49ers. It was also wide receiver Robbie Anderson was also there working out for him today as is going. But now I ask you this because it also just came out earlier that Josh Downs is going to be out for at least a month with a potential high ankle sprain. And so the question now is, or an ankle sprain, not sure if it's high ankle, but with an ankle sprain, Is there any way that this whole Ayuk thing, if everything falls through with Pittsburgh, could the Colts be potentially looking to add wide receiver depth because of Downs?
Well, that would be pretty interesting. I mean, thankfully, Josh Downs didn't suffer a season-ending injury, unlike Rondale Moore with the Atlanta Falcons, who, according to reports, suffered a pretty nasty injury. We're still waiting for more word on that. But here's the thing, to answer your question, that's a big ask for a franchise to immediately turn its attention and enter negotiations where they're not only offering up potential players a package of draft picks, but also offering up a contract that's going to make a wide receiver top 10 at his position. That would be a pretty big turnaround for any NFL franchise. So you can never rule out a sleeper team entering negotiations, but this would be a sleeper team, whoever it may be, would have to be a team that has at least been talking to the 49ers or coming up and sitting up in their front office, figuring out what exactly this wide receiver is worth and working on a contract draft as well.
As we're joined Jordan Dajani right now here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of CBS Sports.
Yeah, lastly, before we let you go, I just want to, who is the biggest contender in the AFC for the Chiefs? Because everybody used to say it was the Bengals with Burrow, but I don't know if that's still the case, or is it the Ravens? Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the Baltimore Ravens. I know a lot of people want to talk about Derrick Henry bolstering that rushing attack. Sure, that may be true, but the bottom line is that the Baltimore Ravens were the number one team in the NFL in the regular season, in my opinion. I mean, they set a record with double-digit victories over eventual playoff teams. Anytime a contender, whether it was the Detroit Lions or early in the year, people like the Seattle Seahawks, whoever it was, whenever those teams came into Baltimore, they absolutely just blew them out. They blew the doors off of those teams. So the Baltimore Ravens, they really did have a turnaround with their new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. Their defense, of course, was very stout as well. So I'd probably point to the Baltimore Ravens as that team in the AFC that can challenge Patrick Mahomes.
All right, Jordan, we appreciate it, bro. I was making sure that on X, as you were talking, another wide receiver didn't work out for the 49ers, but I think we're good to go.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, appreciate it, man. See you out at practice tomorrow. Have a good one, sir. As that was Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports, who's going to be out at Titans practice tomorrow. No, it's looking like the 49ers are getting very close to trading Ayuk if they are now working out wide receivers as we continue. We may have another Olympic spoiler for you when we continue as we wrap up, getting you ready for 3HL. It starts at 3 o'clock as he is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunt, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop. I want to know if you have heard about peptides. Peptides are shaking up the fitness world, and they are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies. So as we age, they start to decline, and at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why our workouts can stop being productive at the gym. Or maybe you feel like you've hit a wall, or perhaps you feel tired all the time. You may be struggling to stay awake in the evenings, just like when you get home from work. Or if you thought this is just a normal part of aging, it doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, help with recovery between workouts, and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are safe, naturally occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals. A natural and holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what's going on inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance, just like I did. So feel better from the inside out. So go to edgepeptide.com, or you can just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
You ever wonder why so many pro athletes go and use stem cell therapy? Because it works. I'm Ron Slade, retired 14-year pro basketball player, and I needed to get this done. After I went through my entire career riddled with injuries, I needed therapy. So I went to Kellum Stem Cell Institute out in Franklin. Why? Because they're the stem cell specialists. They can be yours too. They're the stem cell specialists of the Tennessee Titans. You know why? Because it works.
Make an appointment today with Kellum Stem Cell Institute.
Continuing on 104.5 The Zone as we are about to wrap up. As the Olympics happening right now, you have Team USA women's basketball going on as we speak, which I do not have a score for you just yet, even though it tipped off 15 minutes ago, so no need for the Olympics spoiler. I just wanted to go ahead and put that in there so that nobody has to freak out about this. But before we wrap up, there is an interesting little X tweet that's going around. X tweet, I think those are two totally different things, but the same thing at the same time. That the Titans are launching something called a mosh pit in the brand new stadium that's going to be built and open in 2027. Now, there's a little bit of details about what this is going to be, but apparently inside the new Nissan Stadium, their fans are going to have access to seats which is going to be beside the live stage. It's going to be inside the stadium, very similar to what you have at Bridgestone. There's going to be dedicated invitations to events, complimentary annual merch that you're going to be able to purchase, and exclusive chance to buy specially priced PSLs. But the only way that you can get into the mosh pit is you're going to have to submit videos just to apply. So I don't know what all's involved with that. But that is something that's kind of coming out right now about the brand new Nissan Stadium. The other thing that you could be excited about, depending on if you're a football player or not, is the fact that, is this right that the Cleveland Browns are actually going to build a dome stadium?
No way.
So there are reports out that they are now planning a $2.4 billion dome stadium in Cleveland. And the renderings of this stadium has a roof similar to what the Titans are doing, where the natural light is going to be able to come into the stadium, which is also similar to what you're seeing in Minnesota as well at US Bank Stadium. But according to multiple reports, the Browns are looking at building a $2.4 billion dome stadium in Brook Park. In Cleveland.
They trying to get that Super Bowl. That's what they trying to get.
Because they're never going to get the Super Bowl any other way.
Yeah.
They're only going to get summer events.
It's too cold, yeah.
Yeah, it's way too cold to try to be in Cleveland for that.
Here we go. Every NFL team is going to have a Super Bowl if they got a new stadium.
Do you know how screwed some stadiums are going to be if it ever comes down and the NFLPA eventually says that they only want to play on grass fields? I'm serious. Like, it's if that takes place.
Watch this. The NFLPA?
Yeah, the Players Association, like you guys.
You act like you act like we have clout.
Well, I figured there's some sort of like negotiation, some like collective bargaining agreement, because players complain about it so often.
Just think about your job
totally
and what you do
about.
And you complain about certain things. Everybody has them in their job, right?
Yeah, Jackson. Complain about him a lot.
But do they ever get changed?
No.
I'm still here.
He's still
So that is how much the NFLPA has say-so over what the NFL. They act as their partners, but it really is like an 80%. We tell you what to do. You guys do what we say. We'll listen to you 20% of the time. So that's kind of how it works.
Look, man, it
ain't nowhere near cloud. Watch this. We want safety, right? Well, we already added a game, and they talking about going to 18. So what did the PA say about that? Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, don't do this.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I had these hopes.
All for, conjecture.
I'm a natural grass guy, man.
Me too. Oh, it changed I was so thankful that we were on grass. I played on mostly grass the rest of my career after we got here. I loved it.
Well, yeah, because you basically played in a parking lot for about your first 4 or 5 seasons in the NFL.
For me, 4. It made a big difference.
Yeah, and so they've always heard these talks of players like, oh, well, we're going to complain and we want to be on natural grass.
Because I had never played on the new
Absolutely, no, because they have the coconuts, the coconut seed and what all that is.
Pretty safe, I have no idea.
But yeah, there's always that talk of, the NFLPA is going to eventually, they're going to say that they want to play on natural grass because, with the Olympics, or not the Olympics, but the World Cup, the World Cup says, look, we're only playing on natural grass. So even somewhere like MetLife, who has an artificial surface, they're going to have to install grass for when the World Cup comes to the Americas. So there are stadiums that are going to be used for the Olympics, or not the Olympics, but for the World Cup that have to install grass, even though their stadium doesn't have it. So
is there any grass, normal grass you can have in a dome?
It has to be retractable roof. There was even
Arizona.
your stadium that you used to play in was the one stadium that they tried to have natural grass
Oh, it
in.
didn't work. By the end of the season, it was horrible.
No, and it
was
never
dirt.
worked. Absolutely. And so now you can see this that's another part of what is happening overseas. And Lucas would be a fantastic person to talk about this. But especially like in London and Premier League stadiums, they have this system that they have created that they move the grass because it's a domed stadium underneath the actual surface, and they use lighting to grow the grass that way, and then they move it up. Like there's a humongous system that has been created that's almost like a conveyor belt that goes underground, and they have built it that way where they grow the grass underneath the normal surface, and then when it's game time they move it up that way, which that's soccer, but you know how much money that would also require NFL teams or stadiums to add that system into their
It's already past that.
see, so that's why I was just you had
Yeah.
I was all happy and stuff.
But are you watching the actions, though? Stop listening to what they are saying. Their actions tell you what they're thinking.
Don't burst my bubble, man.
No, I'm just telling you. This is a life lesson here. Look at their actions, not what they say.
Hate life lessons.
They go, oh, we want safety. You to get that. That's going to go out to it. They're going to have a 20 game. Do you think they care about the safety? The PA does. They go, oh, pay us more. Okay, cool.
Well, with that fun nugget, we're going.
Well, Diggs did practice it, so he did have a good day.
He did practice. Rocket number 26. He was on the field.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it tomorrow as day 2 of training camp practice right here. All the shows as far as RK Dub and Buck will be on the field. We will be out of here now because 3HL needs to get in. So in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.